Open meeting at 5:01. The forum, does anybody have a conflict of interest in this meeting? See enough? Okay. Adjustments to agenda.
Yeah, we can go right into the public hearing and get that knocked out first.
What are we doing?
The public hearing for
Okay, so,
the license renewal.
open the public hearing.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, sorry.
Perfect. No, that's fine.
I totally skipped over that. Highlighted it all. I skipped right over it. Sorry about that.
As you guys know, every 5 years, we have to renew the license for the sewer plant. It's up for renewal this year. We have to have a public hearing to see if any of the butters have any issues or questions. Apparently, no one's here, so no issues or questions. Rudy's not in the butter.
You might hold something on there.
So we're in the process. Once this is over, we have to have it in by May. From what we get from our DEP inspector, doesn't sound like we're gonna get a new license for quite a while, because they don't even have license writers in the DEP to write a license.
Wow.
So they're gonna stamp our old license and just let us run on that until they get a writer to write new licenses. So that's pretty much where we're at with that.
And the folks, if I could add something, Mr. Chair, the folks at the plant have been proactive. They're, as Ryan said, ahead of schedule. They're making an effort, concerted effort to be early with these items. So I want to thank them for that, for being proactive, make sure that we get the renewals.
As far as this hearing, does anything have to be read, any legal or anything? I know when this water department, we do something, we always have to read some statement. Are we all good? Is that all that we just need to say what it's about? We're good?
We sent everybody the letter explaining what was going on and posted it in the paper and in the post office and everywhere else.
All right.
Back in the beginning of January.
So there is an application and it's available for public inspection here at the plant, and when it's submitted to DEP, which could be as early as tomorrow, it'll also be available to the public at DEP.
So if they stamp it, they'll be able to dump sludge on the field.
No,
No.
this is not the sludge license, Tom. This is the spray.
Oh, just
The sludge license are suspended indefinitely
okay.
until they figure out what they're doing with PFAS. But on a side note, just so you guys know, we got our first test results for PFAS. And alkaline, that's what, 25 parts per trillion for drinking water?
Yeah.
We're at 0.3 parts per trillion in our sewer water.
Can they even test that low?
Apparently they can, the results came.
Because they've been saying that they're under, the number's just ridiculous.
0.3 parts per trillion is what our sewer water. So technically our sewer water is drinkable. Under PFAS standards, I'm not saying.
You go first.
We can bottle it, moneymaker.
Yeah, right? Blame it on.
Don't tell Poland Spring.
What's telephone spring, maybe they'll buy you out. So what else do we need for that? Can we close that section of the meeting?
You should ask everybody in attendance if they have any comment, if there's any public comment.
Is there
And
any-
you can let the public know that they can submit written comments to the DEP. But there's only one member here.
So basically what Joe said, if anybody has any comments or would like to submit comments, we will absolutely answer any questions.
I'll add one more to it, because I read the standard here. Our fish sludge from the Cook Aquaculture Faucet Hatchery is also tested for PFAS, well below the technical limit.
We're allowed to accept your,
Right, and that's
Because-
spread on, we got 4 acres up there, we spread on that,
Nice.
so there's no PFAS in that, therefore nothing in our feed as well.
there was none on your inlet or your outlet, right?
Correct.
Good water up here.
Where does the water for that come from, the lake?
Yeah.
Any other comments? Guess we'll close the hearing at 5:06. And then I will turn it over to John to open the regular meeting.
Just walked in. All right, we're ready to open the regular meeting at 5:06. There will obviously we have a quorum here. I looked at this on my phone. Does anyone have any conflicts of interest, et cetera? All right, we're ready to start. So we have number 3, adjustment to the agenda. We have Mr. Rudy Davis here. Discuss sewer connection compliance. Can we do that right now?
But he doesn't have to stick around if he doesn't want to. Doesn't he? Number 3.
Perfect. All right. So over that, Rudy, do you have anything to, anyone have any questions for Rudy or anything? Obviously, this is connecting his business to the sewer system of Rangeley, and bringing it back into compliance. And ongoing. I don't know what the lead question is, really.
Guess what? Are we looking for a timeline on?
You have a comment from me or you got questions?
Since I'm coming in here just hot right at the moment,
Yep.
obviously it'd be a timeline for, if it was to continue operating as a business, timeline or in good faith and or contractors lined up to connect that, to connect your property to the sewer lines.
Well, it's not closed my business, but new guy is going to be operating in the same place. He's operating right now. So,
Has the property been sold
no,
or intend, purchase and sales agreement?
so, you know, and I'm fully aware it's my property, so I'm responsible. If it were just back to storage, would it be required?
I think the definition is, if it's a running business, it has to have. I can't tell it off the top of my head, but I believe if it's a running business, it has to have. Toilet, basically. It has to be connected, to put it that way.
Even just for storage?
Bear with me.
Was some of the, and I'm just asking because I really don't know, was some of the work done when the Allied Real Estate, is it Allied, the new insurance?
Noise.
Nothing.
What was the question?
I was wondering when noise came in, if they did some of the running of the pipe to get it where he could.
No,
connect to it easily or
he's
not.
got something run from the
I got a sewer drop there.
the sewer drop.
You have a stub.
When they redid the sidewalk projects, they, M&H ran a stop just onto your property, I believe, on that manhole.
But you still need a tank and a pump, right? That to get it
You
in.
have to pump it up, yeah.
Is that the intent of the new business operation, is just to be storage?
Well,
So,
at this point, I'm not sure.
Gotcha.
so are you looking at you look at section 30.24? That's probably the pertinent, I think.
So it says the owners of all houses, buildings, or properties used for human occupancy, employment, recreation, or other purposes, requiring that the disposal of sewage situated within the town and abutting any street, alley, or right of way in which there is located a public sanitary sewer of the town is hereby required at the owner's expense to install suitable toilet facilities therein and to connect such facilities directly with the proper public sewer in accordance with the provisions of this ordinance within 90 days after receipt of official notice to do so, provided that said, what's a long sentence, provided that said public sewer is within 200 feet of the property line, unless prevented by topographical or other reasons. So if it's used for, as a house, building, properties used for human occupancy, employment, and recreation, or other purposes requiring the disposal of sewage. So employment. Right, that's what we're talking about here. So
Yeah.
Employment, or like if you're running an office there, or
People
turned into a residence, et cetera, then it would have to have, you know, a restroom or a restroom and dispose of sewage and be connected to the line. And if it was, I guess, demoed and deemed just to sit there as storage, I guess there's a great area there. There's a few other units in town. I don't,
There's no,
airport.
yeah, but there's no sewer up there, so.
No sewer.
I'm not a lawyer, I'm kind of,
Never put it down the hill.
if it isn't a business that's occupied, then it's people working out of it, or if it's just storage. Probably doesn't need it, but I don't know, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not your lawyer, so. Is it
I would
on
tend
us
to
to
agree with
interpret,
that.
is it on us to interpret what that means? Because if
I guess my question is, is there an application, or is there a change of use of the building? Has that happened? Has that occurred? Do we know?
Change of use of the building was back when I applied for redemption center. And I don't have the business anymore, I'm working there right now, but same type of business in the same place. So. But anyway, I just was curious about that. That I asked. Sounds to me like it's kind of a gray area if it goes just back to storage, but
you still have an office space there, so.
if it goes back to storage, no, there will be no office space, there will be office spaces in my home. But if the redemption center remains there, you get the hookup.
Correct, yeah. For remain the redemption center, under the current change of use, then it still have, I interpret it, still have to be connected to the sewer. If you, I don't know what the process is to go to change it back to just storage. And then, as in, if that space where you're working it got cordoned back off to storage again, and it's, you know, just essentially garage doors and concrete floors, then no, because there'd be no for the same.
I think I agree.
I agree with that as well.
If that was, but it'd have to be a change of use, and that probably goes
Planning board.
to the planning board.
That would be directed to the code enforcement office. He would make a determination whether he could decide it or whether it would go to the plan, most likely would go to the planning.
What you're saying is if I decide to go back to storage, I'm gonna have to go through that process again?
It's a change of use.
Yeah, change of use would go to the code enforcement officer.
Well, if it's already a storage place and they just stop doing the other part, you still have to do that? This is a question, I don't know anything.
That's a- The planning board, they changed it to give him the ability to use it as a commercial space. So in order for him not to hook up to sewer, he'd have to take that out of the commercial space and go back to a storage unit. So he'd have to go through the whole process of changing it, because he had it as a storage unit originally and then changed it, which is where you fell into having hooked to sewer, because you changed the purpose of the building.
Okay.
Because if he doesn't, he could sell it to the next guy technically without sewer.
Right.
To run as a commercial office building, potentially.
Just want to clarify that in my head.
Well, all I can say is if I do the store, the M&H, it doesn't work. Put it in the drop, I talked to them last summer, at the end of it. I haven't lined anything up with them, but talking to Joe, they do the job. But, what's the amount of time in the plan they give you? Did you say 90 days?
Well, it's actually 90 days from when you were notified the first time. We've given you time because we know it's an expensive thing, so the board is allowed to, we're not gonna put anybody out of business to make them comply. We're gonna help them get there. That's why it's been a while.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I held off myself because I knew at some point they would be doing the sidewalk. And that would be the ideal time to put it in, because instead of doing it on a special deal, it cost me twice as much probably.
so,
And so, I guess if everything stays as it is, redemption center. I guess the timeline for me would be sometime this summer. Between now and so you can dig.
right.
And then in fall. Does that answer your question?
Obviously, you can't do anything until the frost is on the ground. We know that.
No.
Um,
But is that acceptable? If I do it this summer or into the fall, it may go over the 90 days.
Oh, correct.
Which it already has.
We're out of the 90 days. I think good faith, I mean, we're not gonna shut you down. I don't believe. We're not gonna put you out of business for it. And I'm speaking for me. That's the way I would vote. John, what are your thoughts? Do you think, can we get a date or something, or?
Yeah, I'm all along those same lines there, and if we could just have, if it stays operating the way it is right now.
Yeah.
If we could have by the next meeting, just have a timeline with M&H. If they can fit that in June. Or if you go home and think about it, want to change it all back, and you go through, and you have the paperwork with code enforcement officer, and it's going through planning board to go right back to storage.
Where is the code enforcement officer?
Bring it to the front counter.
I called the other day to talk to him. I gotta go through the rigmarole on the computer, get him to even call me. So they supposedly notified him to call me and I haven't heard from him.
We're currently with a part-time code enforcement
Yeah,
officer at the moment in
that's
town.
my point, exactly. I don't know if he's even here in town half the time. It's exasperating if you have a question for him. But anyway, yes, I'll see what I can do.
Let me like 30 days from now, Rudy.
Yeah.
Um,
I'll
Right.
see, I'll see what I can do, as I've been in the H down and do something.
I mean, we're not gonna go up there with the cease and desist and stop operating. That's not what we're here for.
Just get some information from them, if they can't, when they can work, get the work done, that's.
Yeah, that would be. I'll discuss with them,
Talk to Scotty.
and they might be able to get it in. Also, I gotta get costs, it's gonna cost me some money.
Like I said, you can go home and weigh out the options if you want to change it back. Maybe the code enforcement officer can shed some light on that, if that's easier that way.
Is the
Yeah.
code enforcement officer even here?
Yes, he lives right in Rangeley. He's just part-time.
He has a full-time job and then does this.
Yeah.
part-time.
Just probably.
I'm looking for a permanent one.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Are you, applying?
I wouldn't do
Come back into
that.
service, Rudy, come on. Back into public service?
No. I got rid of all that.
You've done your service.
I've done my service.
You sure have.
Don't get me wrong, it's all been good. But, no, I'm not looking for anything. I did, and I'm sorry, I was just venting my frustration a little bit.
Not a problem.
Anyway. So,
And you don't need to show up for the next meeting too, you can just drop it.
yeah,
It's got to give you a timeline that will fit you in, and when they're up there. just-
Come in, yeah, come in and ask, come in and talk to me.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. All righty, Yes. Anything else? All right, good.
Thank you, Rudy.
Thank you, Rudy. All good?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Very good. Have a good evening, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rudy.
Okay. The next line on there is review of the meeting minutes, which I was absent for, so I've glanced them over, but you are here, do they?
I'll make
have
a
any
motion that
additions
we,
or-
I have one correction.
All right.
Okay,
Thomas Clinch is spelled T-O-M-E-S, not T-H.
oh, it's not, you don't have an H.
It's no H.
My brother has an H, my son has an H.
Yeah,
Mine is-
and Tom, being it has an H. Thanks.
I'll correct that.
No.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes from December 13th, 22 as written.
Well, second,
All those in favor? Yeah, I gotta count five of them. Five. No other public present to speak on non-agenda items. 6, is there any purchase orders in this packet?
No.
I apologize, I was at the mountain all day. I only looked at this at the PDF on my phone.
Yeah, it's kind of small.
It's small. And see the packet 7 is applications and kind of shock, is there new? And that leads us to 8, debate, which I have not reviewed. 36 Pleasant Street.
I do have questions on that.
So,
This one right here. Does anyone have any information?
I have information, I was there, I helped them pump it out, so. I just have a question, why is it only $104 remaining?
I talked to Rebecca about that today. I asked her what her thoughts were. She only felt that we should, so the connection fee, she didn't feel like that was something that we should be forgiving.
No.
No.
And so we're only, $45 is their sewer bill, so the 104.83 is the remaining balance.
Okay, that's the difference.
Yeah, the difference between the connection and the $45, and then of course the sales taxes on that.
That, I don't think that's right.
You don't think that's right?
No, not for 2,500 cubic feet.
750,
750,
100.
750, 100. 25 times 750 plus 45. I don't think that's right. Because they were not hooked up to the sewer system at all, so we know none of it went down the sewer for sure. Oops. Yeah, so their usage, just the usage without 45 was 187.50, so
Right, that's what she wrote.
they should have a bill of $45, in my opinion.
Right, I think so, I
Yeah.
think so.
No, that's absolutely what it should be.
So you're wanting to abate the 187.50
No, minus 25.
minus 45.
No, what did you say?
The 187.
187.50 was what it was, just the water, not counting service charge. So they should have a bill of $45, in my opinion. Because as I said, they had, our water line came up, and there was a spigot on the end, and it wasn't hooked to any fixtures at all. And there was a swimming pool down there. It was a lot. I mean, that's what I was
That's for
thinking.
water use charges, yeah.
Didn't go down the system, so it should be.
I thought you said the total bill was 186.
No, I'm sorry.
So it should be abated for everything except for the 45.
Yeah, the quarterly fee.
Something, what happened, something leak or?
So the place is,
Well,
they're still working on it.
Right.
It was a really windy day and they put some styrofoam in the windows in the basement. They just put them in there. That's all they did. They didn't nail them in.
Oh, they blew out.
Oh, they blew out and it got down there and just popped the thing right out of it was just hitting the ceiling at 90 pounds of pressure. Hitting
The
ceiling.
town water,
Town water.
I see.
Yeah, it just froze it just enough to pop that line out.
Good
Oh,
times.
wow,
But thankfully it went through the meter, so we got our money.
right.
Just kidding.
But then it was pumped out into the
Then we
ditch.
just pumped it right out into the street.
I gotcha.
It was a mess. Yeah, we let them use our pump.
Right.
That's just the chief use district. They charge for the replacement of meter $149. The connection fees, this is just showing you the water department. They didn't really have.
I'm confused on that.
Oh, I'm
That's
sorry.
not.
I can attest, as I said, even when I
Alright,
was
so-
over there.
So we're abating everything except for, so do we
The
have a
$45.
total amount?
She's on the cover letter, the letter she had. That's the amount that, we did.
Okay. I mean, so-
That's her actually, his actual use.
Okay, sorry, guys, I'm confused. Thank you.
3250.
So. I think I got a figure on that. So we are abating 18007,
18750.
18750.
It's in the cover letter. So that's a bill from the water department to prove that they fixed the stuff.
Oh, okay.
That's
what
not our
confused me
bill.
too.
That's what confused Tracy.
All right, okay. As long as someone else is true.
So it's 187.50, not 104.83.
Right,
Right.
Now I'm on the same page.
Now we're tracking.
Yeah, so it was a total bill of 232.50. We're abating 187.50 of that, which would make it 45. That's- That was complicated.
I'm glad you dug your phone
it's my
out.
fault.
Yeah, well,
That's still good. 43 cents. All right, is there any further discussion on that? No? For all that, I'll make a motion to accept the corrected abatement for 36 Pleasant Street, abating the bill of abating 187.50, leaving them with $45 bill.
Seconded.
The period, I'll put this in there. The period of October 1 to December 31st, 2022. We have a second on that already. Okay,
Second?
Second.
all right. All in favor? That's 5-0. For the abatement for 36 Pleasant Street for 187.50. Moving on. 9, we have Ryan here tonight. Chick Hill update. What do you got for us, Ryan?
We're making snow. We just hit 8 million. We're pumping it up. The lagoons are really high this year. We that 6 inches of rain in December really stung us pretty good.
Yes.
So other than that, we're just clock like clockwork, trying to get a bunch of projects ready for the summer. State's paved, we got a bunch of manholes to fix this summer. But Dallas Hill and stuff. Other than that, same old as usual.
Well, snowmaking. With the additional rain, snowmaking's on track to draw you down.
Yeah.
Within reason.
Dale's looking at hitting like 15 to 17 million this year. He's pretty much spraying 24/7 if you can.
All the snow guns and pump working
Yeah. Everything's clicking right along.
good.
We had to turn the guns because the snow piles are getting a little tall. But
All right. Any other questions from the board or? All right.
I have a question. You know what, never mind. I'll call you guys tomorrow. Doesn't have anything to do with right now. No, it's-
means he's gonna break something that we need to fix.
We'll wrap up that Chiquel. We have number 10, continuing business sewer connection compliance, which Rudy was our last outstanding one, the original.
I have a question on that, and I don't know
Take it easy.
if Tracy could reach out to Kenny Haley, to see if they're actually gonna tear down the Davenport house or not, because
Yeah,
they
'cause
tore down
it's-
the end of it, and then it stopped.
Okay,
And it looks like they just took that bad piece off and thinking maybe.
Correct.
Maybe Amber decided they're gonna keep it, or, you know? I was just wondering, because if they're gonna keep it, they need to hook up the sewer, which they can, because they've got that
They're working
line
on it.
going up anyways, I just a question,
I'll give them a call.
okay,
I think it's an evolving family situation.
that's what I was trying to think.
Most family situations are.
Took me a minute to find those words. All right, then that leads us to rate hearing planning.
So you'll find in your packet a letter from Mike Pierce. We met with Jeff Pebble a week or so ago. He's got some really good insight and information that we'll be talking about. He's gonna attend the meeting on March 14th. But this kind of gives you an overview of what they sustainability plan study that they did at the plant. So Joe can elaborate more, but he's got some good ideas to try and, some we have to spend, make it more, self-contained.
Yeah, they've been working on comparing Rangeley to, actually, it's in the second page here.
Yeah.
The connection fees are there. They've also looked at rates. And that's the bulk of what we'll talk about on the 14th when they come to see it. One item in here that I'd like to update you on the front page, we have one bond that's paid off, one that's going to be paid off in October, which comes out to about $124,000. I recommend, in fact, we just talked about it last night, to the Board of Selectmen as we work on the budget to take that $100,000 that you normally would have to pay for these bonds and bank it in the reserve. They seem receptive to that. Obviously, it's not a final yet. They've got a whole bunch of more meetings, and the town meeting will finalize that. But the thought there is to have it ready for the projects that we know are upcoming. Biggest one on my radar, I believe that the plant folks agree with me on this, is the SCADA system. That's the system that updates the reporting for the collection system of the plant and so forth. Originally, years ago, when we looked at that, we thought that might be an $80,000 or $90,000 project, but the reality is it's between $200,000 and $300,000 now. So the more we can bank, the easier it'll be for the town to get that project going, and then the other ones on the list beyond that. So I have recommended that to the board, and so far it's plugged into the draft budget. That may change, but they seem receptive to it.
A lot of good information on that page, just that 2 pages right there. Eye-opening, actually.
Yeah, and another thing we talked, Jeff will elaborate probably on this, but Steve, back to the rate portion of it. We were thinking, do we present now a change in rates, or keep the rates the same, or bring it up a little bit? And we said, it's probably not the right time, because we'll never get that incorporated into the budget, because it won't, if you're hearing it on March 14th, making a recommendation, the board won't get it back until sometime in April. So we thought it made sense, Jeff and I and Tracy were in that meeting too, to kind of plan ahead for some rate adjustments a year out. So as opposed to July 1, 23, possibly, it would be July 1. Jeff will get into that more when he's with you on the 14th.
I'm definitely gonna be writing down some questions. I have some questions on that whole, how the rates affect, how much do they pay of the actual running of the sewer department? Is it subsidized by the rest of the ratepayers? I mean,
Users versus the
Yeah.
taxpayers.
Yeah.
That's what you're looking for, that balance.
yeah, I just
there.
wanna know where
Yeah,
that's at. And
Absolutely.
I know it
We
doesn't.
talked about that.
I think that's the crux of the conversation, really, is what is that balance, what do you folks think it should be? Sure. What will your recommendation be for the select board moving forward?
The other follow-up that something that's rolled off of our agenda was the comprehensive plan directives. So we have earmarked, or we presented to the Board of Selectmen earmarked $25,000 for a feasibility study for either one of the options that y'all proposed to them, either, piping it uphill to Chick Hill or trying to buy property and build a new one. So that's where that's at, just doing the due diligence on the comprehensive plan directives, so.
Nice.
And that would be reserve money, not appropriated.
Right.
So, and they also, the Board of Selectmen thanked you for doing your part and following up with them. And it's,
Maybe we're gonna bring our questions and read through. Is there any other discussion on that? 11, new business. That's all the continuing business. Anything else on our radar in the town or? No? That's it. Coming down to the end here. So number 12, the next meeting, the sewer commission is March 14th. And next board of selectmen meeting is the end of this, really on President's Day. Is it President's Day?
The 20th is President's Day,
Ah,
the 21st is the day after.
I apologize.
No worries.
Board of selectmen, any further discussion from the board? Well, I guess I'll make a motion to adjourn this meeting at 5:43. Seconds it, all those in favor? Everyone's already for dinner. Next meeting